Okay, so this video we are focusing on DNS lab and how to create a DNS lab under Debian. So this file is actually in your Learning Hub, so you can download that file. I have already downloaded that file. So then there is like a software which is called 7-zip. Also, I put it there. You can download that software also. And then you can extract this file. So it's this file, Debian version 12, is around 1.8 gig, around 2 gig. It's not very um, big file. So then you open VMware Workstation. So once you open VMware Workstation, you don't need to create a virtual machine. You go to File, Open, and then look here, the location of the file that you extracted. So you select this file and then you have Debian. It's like that. Very easy. I copy it and then you have operating system. So you're not installing operating system. This operating system is prepared and you just use it. Okay. It should be very good for you guys because if you don't have a lot of resources, then you can use this one. Like previous recording was with Ubuntu, I think 22.04, but this one is with Debian 12 is lighter version. The password I believe is Debian. Debian. Yeah, Debian. So if you're not familiar, I'm also new to this uh, like environment. I'm not using this type of environment, but if you're new, like we don't use a lot of graphic here. We're just using terminal. So search terminal. Where is terminal located? So you see that this is terminal. And that's the way we start. And I can make it bigger. And then you can start it from sudo-s. Sudo-s make your user as an administrator. And first things that you should check, your network adapter always is as a NAT. So look here is as NAT. NAT means that you receive an IP address from the router and you're connected to the internet. I have a recorded video on YouTube, so also in my channel, you can go and find what is the difference between NAT, bridge, and host only. I have recorded that one. Also, I have recorded for VirtualBox. You can watch that video and then you can understand better what is the difference between this type of NAT, bridge, and host only. So the first thing you should check that you have a connectivity ping. I have a connectivity. You can clear your screen like that, clear. It will clear your screen. So the thing is that what we are doing here, we are practicing DNS. And that means that I'm running some DNS query. For example, the first one is nslookup vcc.ca. So it is resolving the IP address of vcc.ca. Look, it will resolve the IP address 15.222.47.191. It has two DNS server, right? So this command is resolving the IP address. We have a similar um, command like vcc.ca, like host. The result is the same. You compare this result with this one. They're the same. Also, another alternate one is dig vcc.ca. You see that this one, it has more detail. It's telling you that, okay, this one is the A record that we have, and it took like 7 milliseconds to do this query. So you see that. So if I I do it again, you see that it's going to be 0 millisecond. Probably I ask from my DNS cache server, right? So based on the picture that I show you, it goes from your cache in the local server and goes to the intermediate servers and then go to authoritative name servers. Sometimes if you want to say that, okay, resolve NS lookup, resolve vcc.ca and ask from Google server. Ask from Google server like that, 4224. So this result is coming from Google servers. And you see that Google servers also, they have the same result. So like they are asking what is vcc.ca. And it can be like that if you were using dig command, like ask from 8.8.8.8, what is vcc.ca IP address? So again, the query giving you the same IP address. Okay. So now this is your local DNS, and these are commands that you're resolving the IP address. We can have this way: apt-get install bind 9 and bind 9 utils. So what is that? Actually, we are installing bind on top of this Debian. And this allows us to have to play with DNS server a lot. So usually, um, when you are doing or installing any packages, it goes to etc and the name of that package. Here is bind. So configuration is located here. If you do ls, configuration is located here. So you see that some of them, it includes the database, some of them is include the configure conf file. Conf file usually is configuration file. So if you nano is editor, that you can edit the files. Nano name.conf.options. If you go to this file, here you can change some configuration. Under here, you can enable recursion. And I'm going to enable that one, recursion. Yes. So that one is like a local cache that you're enabling here. So I enable recursion, and then I will, if you change any configuration, you should restart the services. Service bind 9, the service name was bind 9, restart. And now if you dig from localhost, I'm asking from localhost, what is google.com? It's telling me that Google IP address is this IP address. And it gives me this query time in 267 milliseconds. If you repeat it again, you see that 0 millisecond because now it cached that query. So immediately it will respond to your query. So this is the things that you should know it. Your local cache immediately, once you look for something, immediately cache that query. And for the second time, your response time, your query time is going to be lower than the previous one. Also, you can do it like that, that mentioned in during the lab document. What is my website now? Look, my website IP address is this one. So this is called resolving. I'm resolving any IP address that I have. And the query time will actually show me that how long does it take to resolve this IP, to resolve this DNS name. So now, and at the part that we are creating zone, we are playing with more zones and how to create a zone in DNS. So if you look at here, you have some databases and some configuration. We go under this file, nano name.conf.local. Here you can create a zone. I'm going to create a zone, for example, zone, that's optional zone. My zone. The name of a zone is my zone. And here, there are different type of zone that we can create. Master, a slave. Master means that uh, that's the one that responds to your query. File, and this is the database. This file section is a database that you're creating. I haven't created that database, but I'm going to create it in a second. My zone. I name it my zone. So, and this is forward lookup query. Forward lookup query, usually you from the name you reach to IP address. Reverse lookup query from IP address you reach to the name. Zone 1.168.192.in address ARPA. Okay. And the type is master. And the file, again, I haven't created this one, but I'm going to create it in a second. Is bind db.1.168.192. So you see that actually it should be 192.168.1.db, but because it is reversed, we are writing also in a reverse way. Just keep in mind after this one and this one, you should have a semicolon that I forgot to put it here and here. Because if you don't put it, then you get an error. Usually once you get an error, you can read the error. What is that error? So now it's time to create that database. So there is a sample database here, this db127 and db.local. I'm going to copy that one, like cp db.local and then db.myzone. Look, that means that copy db.local on db.myzone. Very easy. So then also you can copy db.127 to db.1.168 192, like that. So I'm copying whatever I have in the sample databases. So what is the result? Nano, now this database, db.myzone, db.myzone. So now I have some information. So basically, this is the database that keep the IP addresses of name servers. And here, just keep in mind that this local, because I copied from the local, that's why here is local. That should be to your zone name. My zone name is my zone. And also this one also should be changed to my zone. Every time that you're changing configuration of database, your serial should be higher than the previous number. For example, if it is 2, make it as 3, 4, 5. The number should be higher than 2, the previous one. And refresh time, that means that millisecond that you should refresh it, retry time, expire time, TTL time. So these are like timing. The important part is here that you have NS and NS localhost should be your zone name, my zone. Like I'm creating NS1 name server 1, that's my zone. And then we have some IP addresses. So this A record means your physical host. Where is that located? So A record, like 192.168.1.1. That's the sample IP address that I'm putting here. It can be, I'm just putting some sample IP address to know that how resolving, how it works. So NS1, which is belong to my zone, that's like a server inside my zone. And I put that one as a record, that's like a physical host, and then put the IP address. Again, that's a sample IP address, it's not a real IP address. 60, for example. Host one. Host one is again a sample. This is a sample server in my zone. I'm saying that that server also has this IP address. 192.168.1.60. So that means that NS1 is a server with the IP address of 142.232.197.60. Host 1 is a server with the IP address of 192.168.160. And also this one, my zone, my root one has 192.168.1.1. Okay, so this is like what we do for this one. And also I'm changing the reverse one, 168.192, like this one. Look, this one is in reverse way. Again, because we copied from the previous one, it is localhost that we should change it to my zone. And the same thing for this localhost. And as I said, serial number always you should be higher than previous one, like 2, 3. I put it 3, for example. And then here, SOA is NS, your NS. So then I have NS1, NS1 dot my zone. And then PTR. Always remember, just keep in mind that PTR is a record that you have on the reverse lookup query. So I put here 60, that's the last octet that we have. And you remember that I put 192.168, 160 for host one. So that 60 means that the last octet of that IP address. Host one dot my zone. So that means that if someone look for 192.168.160, that's host one. Okay, so that way. The reverse lookup query always works in the reverse way. So if you do RNDC reload now, you see that it works properly. But sometimes it happens that you don't have a good result. That means that you should change your configuration or something wrong. Then that's troubleshooting. So look now, if I dig and ask from localhost, what is my zone IP address? It will return 192.168.1.1. This 1.1, it comes from forward lookup query. Forward lookup query, always you're asking name and you return IP address. Now let me ask this one. Let me ask dig from localhost host one.myzone. That's physical like server that I have in my zone. So I'm asking that what is the IP address of host one? So it will return that 192.168.160, right? So now let's do it reverse way. Reverse lookup query means that you ask what is the IP address and it will return the name. So I'm asking like that. Dig from localhost dash X, actually, it will ask in a return way. 192.168.160. So now it should return host one. Look, it will return host one.mysql. That means that we have done this step, forward lookup query and reverse lookup query correctly. Something happens in your network, you want to split the DNS. And that splitting DNS is like that. we are creating DNS. So let me do it this way. So I'm going to nano named.conf.local. Here, I want to create a fake name. Like if you, let me show it this way. Like if you dig talibi.ca, it will return this IP address, 74. Now I want to do this way that if someone asks for talibi.ca, it will return different IP address. Usually attackers do this way. They put a fake IP address and then they sniff the traffic. So it works like that. Nano named.conf.local. So here, zone talibi.ca. I'm creating zone, the same as the previous one. This is forward lookup query again. Type master. The same as the previous one, I create a file for that one. etc bind, and then db.talibi.ca. The naming is up to you. You can put any name for database. So here, I'm gonna copy the database that we have for local. So it's like that, db cp db.local, and paste it on db.talibi.ca like that. So if you nano db.talibi.ca, now it contains the local host information. But I'm changing this one and converting to talibi.ca zone like that. I'm changing this part also to talibi.ca. As I said, serial number should be higher. For example, 4, more than 2. And then here is the tricky part, talibi.ca. So that's my NS1 that I want to put it here as a talibi.ca, NS1. Now we reach to A record. So if I want to have my own IP address, not the real IP address, I put it like that. For example, sample IP address. And I put NS1 as another IP address. For example, 142.232.197.60.70, whatever you can put it. www in A, put it as 142.232.197.250, for example. And if you save this one, and then service bind 9 reload or restart. So now if you ask localhost, what is talibi.ca? Look, it will return 27. And if you compare it with the previous one that I queried, you see that now we are returning our own server. Instead of real server, we are returning our own server. And that's the way that usually attackers trying to redirect the traffic and sniff the traffic on DNS server. DNS has a lots of security that you can add it, like DNSSEC. DNSSEC is an important one that you can attach it and bring more security for your DNS.